Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the program. Now, Barb, the market is a bit weak right now. Why do some homes sell quickly and others just sit on the market?
Well, Richard, pricing is an art and it has to be done right. And if it's not done right in the first couple of weeks, what happens is a fresh new listing on the market is very attractive to buyers. And then after a couple of weeks, it sort of gets stale and tired and uninteresting. So it's always good to price a home what I call realistically versus optimistically. And, most home sellers kind of assume that they're selling their home as is, where is, with all its faults. And that's true. That's what the contract says, but nobody behaves that way. In fact, every year I could count on one hand how many sales go through without any repairs being done. It's just not common. And the reason is, the buyers get an inspection and they find something wrong and they ask the seller to fix it, or they ask for a credit. They want a perfect house at any price range. So don't be surprised if they ask for stuff when it comes time for inspection. Almost every seller will say, well, I'm selling my home as is. And I'm like, okay, that's what the contract says, but that's not how they're going to behave. Now, in general, you can either fix whatever's broken, or you can sometimes price for it, meaning price the home low enough that that the buyer says, I'll take it. I don't need to do any repairs. I don't want to lose this house. Because the way the inspection negotiations happen is if the buyer says, okay, Mr. Seller, I still want to buy the house, but I want you to fix this and this and this and this. And if you don't, in a couple of days, I'm walking away because I didn't get what I want. And that's the way the contract is actually designed. There is a hard drop at a certain point in the contract. Now, do all agents know that? No, I wish they should, but I had one that told me a couple of weeks ago. I said, we're out of contract, right? Because we missed that deadline. They didn't reach agreement. And he texted me back, what do you mean we're not in contract? I thought, oh my God, he doesn't know. I said, I can't believe you don't know. You need to talk to your broker. Just talk to your broker, because I can't help you with that one. But anyway, most sellers want it to go through. We tried everything to get it to go through. I sent him a form to revive the contract, and then he ghosted me again. So it's like, dude, what are you doing? Do you have another full-time job? I don't get it. So there is no job description, even though I'm told at times what my job description should be or shouldn't be. Everybody defines their own job description. The only thing that we have to do is whatever we agree to in our agreements with our clients and follow the state laws, which are very light. We don't have to verify the buyer can buy. We don't have to verify anything on inspection, but you want the love fest to go on until closing. You want these buyers very motivated, because they're going to sign on the dotted line for a very expensive thing, a house, right? So you want to make sure that you try to position the home in the best condition you could possibly can, but that's not always the case. And if it's not the case, then you have to price it for that. I recently had a home that was taken back in foreclosure. It's owned by the VA now, or was owned by the VA. And so is a relatively new home. It had a few cosmetic dings, like a little broken trim upstairs and this and that, a little bit of paint. But somehow in the initial phases of getting the house ready for sale, somebody broke into the home and stole all of the stainless steel appliances and the quartz countertop in the kitchen. Now, those are like built and designed for a specific size. It's not like you can just go resell it somewhere else. It's just stupid. And whoever did it was a pro, because it was very carefully extracted from that top. And I was worried about it. I thought, okay, this thing for sure is going to sit on the market for a long time. But in fact, because they priced it right, we got a bidding war. Now, the VA almost always sells their homes as is, where is, with all the faults. In other words, they don't fix anything. So there was also a broken window. The buyer got a VA loan. So inspection time, the agent comes back to me and says, well, the appraiser says you have to fix the window. I said, no, that's not what the contract says. It says as is. Well, what do you mean? I thought the seller had to fix it if the appraiser says you have to fix it. I'm like, no contract says that. And they are selling it as is. So what the buyers do a lot of times, if they really want the home, if the home is priced right, that they're in love with it, that they're willing to absorb any repairs that need to be done, they can do something called a repair escrow, where they're actually funding the cost of that repair into their loan because they know it will appraise at more than their contract price and be able to repair those things after closing and still get a decent home in a good location. Now, some of the high cost things that you probably should check out in advance for sure. I would say at least 2 out of 4 houses have some kind of roof replacement issue, hail damage, wind damage, age damage, whatever it is, that makes their roof uninsurable. Now, there's nothing that obligates the seller to replace the roof. In fact, I had one seller that said, I'm not doing it. I don't care if my roof has hail damage. My deductible's too high. I'm not going to do it. And so he didn't. He offered the buyer a $2,500 credit to put this sealant on the roof, kind of like Flex Seal. And so she accepted that and closed on it. And right before closing, I asked the buyer's agent, I said, hey, is she going to put that sealant on the roof? He goes, no, she's going to wait for the next hailstorm and replace it. So basically she got money out of it, but she never did anything other than maybe getting deductible money for when they do get the next hailstorm. So the things that can be expensive, water heaters now are about $2,500. Inspectors will come through and they'll be like, well, water heater's more than 10 years old. It's got to be replaced, which isn't true. I've had mine last 25 years. Furnaces, they can be pretty spendy now, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. But if they're working, there's no need to replace it. You can couple them with a home warranty and get the buyer to sign off on it. Electrical panels, so about a third, maybe 30% of the homes in this market have that Federal Pacific panel, which if you research it online, it indicates that if a circuit's overloaded, the breakers won't pop, causing fires. And there have been fires. So it's probably a good idea, or just to plan to budget to do that. The best prices I've seen for a new electrical panel are about $2,500. That's pretty high ticket. Structural always is going to be, a lot of money. So hopefully you don't have those issues. But most of the updates are fairly easy, fairly low cost. And a lot of them can go a long way to getting the buyer from it needs too much work to I'll take it and I'll do my own updating. One of them in particular like that is flooring. You can generally get all new carpet, and even in a big house, probably as little as $5,000, and be able to make the home feel fresh and move-in ready with a relatively low cost. So pre-planning can really go a long way. Clutter, of course, is important. You want to make sure you clear out clutter because buyers can't see past it, especially in a photo. And remember, your first showing is online. If you don't get that right, they won't leave their fuzzy bunny slippers and spend their gas money to come take a look at your home. So you want to make more space, make it look light and airy. A lot of people think that when they declutter their home the way we recommend, they're like, it doesn't look like anybody lives here. I'm like, yep, that's the whole idea. It's perfect. Make sure you take care of the key rooms: curb appeal, backyard view, living room, kitchen, master bathroom, master bedroom. Little things like flooring and neutralizing paint can go a long way. Repair broken stuff. Doorbells, very inexpensive thing to fix. But it just makes this impression when you're walking up, when you see a broken doorbell. We talked about flooring, and then some of the not obvious gotchas, of course, are the roof, the sewer line. Oh my God, I spend so much time on sewer lines and septic lines because that's been the latest darling of home inspectors. They'll come in and they're not plumbers, right? And without permission, I've had them take this disgusting wheel of rope that's been inside other people's sewers with a camera on it and go do a sewer scope of your line. And sometimes they're pulling a toilet without permission to do that, which I don't let them do it. I say, no, if you guys are going to check the sewer line, you got to bring in a licensed plumber or a plumbing company that does this all the time to make sure they get it right. And one that we had one sale recently where we had a plumbing company come do it, and then the inspector's company did it as well. And I was told, well, they got a certification to do that. And so the seller had just put brand new carpet in this house. And so we had one of my team members was there at the inspection. He sent me a picture of there is the inspector that got the certification to check sewer lines with this disgusting wheel sitting on her brand new carpet. Would that make you mad, Richard? It would make me mad. I'm sorry. It still makes me mad.
Barb, it would make me incredibly mad. It's a sign of massive disrespect to yourself, to the person you represent, and to the homeowner every single time.
Yeah, I don't know what. Anyway, it's how it works. So I've had inspectors actually tell my clients to leave their own homes during inspections. And for me, that's an absolute party foul. You can't do it. It's their home. You can't tell them to leave their own home. I don't care if you want to talk about the house in front of the buyer. You can go do that at Starbucks. I could care less. It's just crazy stuff that goes on because there is no job description. There's no criteria to be a real estate agent, nor is there one to be an inspector. So there are some low cost updates that can really go a long way. Old dated finishes like the brassy light fixtures, brassy door handles. You can do those relatively inexpensively. Hollywood bath fixtures are kind of going out of style, especially the gold ones. Faux paint, in particular, dramatic faux paint really gets bright and dramatic in a camera. I had a listing a couple years ago that the design was the whole house was very Tuscan. And in the living room, it had faux paint on the wall and they faux painted a crack across the wall. And during a showing, the feedback we got was, oh, does this house have structural problems? I'm like, oh my God, that was paint. So I had to Photoshop it and put a little sign up to say, this is paint, it's not structure. Anyway, crazy stuff goes on. So you want to make sure you deal with all those issues as best you can. And one way to get ahead of it is to use our certified pre-owned home program. Make sure you get a pre-inspection. Make sure you check out the roof. Make sure you clean and service the furnace. Check out the sewer line. All those things are really critical because you don't want to find out after you're under contract, after you're in a deadline to get bids and negotiations on repairs, that you have this big major problem to deal with. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we are talking about why some homes sell fast and some homes just don't. And I'm giving you tips on what to do to make that happen quickly. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. I'm at 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Or if you want that free report, 27 tips to sell your home fast and for the most money, go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Go up to the free reports tab. You'll get it there. When we come back, we'll be discussing selling a rental home plus Barb's hot new listings. You don't want to miss that.